Yo, what's up? This is Mike Sy, an equality principal. I just finished watching, the Odyssey a couple days, and I've been decompressing and watching all the reviews come in and trying to get the understanding of where most people are at with the film. Whether, they'd focus more on the woke elements, or they focus more on the story, or what the story's missing, or what it doesn't include, or their perception. And it seems like the whole internet is torn. It's divided about what was going on in this story, right? And I think the most conclusive idea I have towards this story is this is Nolan's magnum opus, right? Because he's doing multiple things with the story. And what I mean by that is, it's not just the Odyssey he's telling, right? He's also telling the story of Inception, right? He's trying to give you he's trying to implant an idea in your brain subtly that if you pick up on it, you'll think it's your own. And if you don't pick up on it, then you weren't meant to pick up on it, right? But he's not a fool. He understands acting. He understands storytelling. He understands all these things. And what he didn't practice was the exact opposite of the idea he is trying to implant in your brain, right? It's the Trojan Horse. It's Inception to its 9th degree. So this wasn't really Odyssey. This is Inception too. Like, even how, spoiler, towards the end of the movie when he builds that raft and then washes up on the beach, and then Zendaya, the girl who haunts his dreams, just like Maul, is there and kind of guiding him and helping him deal with the reality that he's in. It is a callback, right? Because he kind of teleports from Calypso onto this raft straight to home. It's kind of this Wonderland thing. But this is the idea he's trying to implant in your brain, right? This is the idea right here. The Trojan Horse is literal, it's spiritual, and it's metaphorical. What was the sin that they committed, right? What was the sin of the Trojan Horse? The Trojan Horse was, you pretended that you had given up and you had left and you weren't trying to conquer and you needed a way to get back home, right? You made amends. You gave a false pretense of your intentions, right? You came in saying, hey, yo, we quit, we're done. They believed you. They brought in this horse. And in this horse, you deceived them. You left the horse and then you killed them all, right? You overthrew their society under false pretenses, right? You pretend to be friendly. You pretended, hey, yo, we're gone. We're not going to cause you harm. You just want to get back home, blah, blah, blah. These are our reasonings. And then you did the opposite of what your reasonings state. So what do we see, or what are the main things that conservatives are complaining about within the West right now? They're trying to replace us. They're entering our homes. They're saying these are the reasons. They're lying under false pretenses. They're violating our trust. They're exploiting our resources. They're killing our people. And they feel no guilt, no shame towards those actions, right? And you see that based off of his karma, what he did with the horse. That's going on in his household back in Ithaca, right? And every single island that they go to, they're uninvited to because they're taking routes that are off the map and are like, oh, we'll just voyage. But when they get to these places, what do they need? They need supplies. They need food. They're unwelcome guests. And they believe because they have an army, because they are, victorious in Troy, they can just go on to an island and take their resources, take their sheep, go into their homes, and do whatever they want because they are victorious. They are warriors, and they have the law of Zeus online, so they have to provide the stuff for them. What if they don't want to do that, and you're fully armed, and you're hungry? Are you not going to take it? And every single time they encroach on land, they're always intruding on those people's land, right? The first time they get to the first land, guess what? It's the dude. He's like, oh, why didn't you welcome us? It's the law of Zeus. You should welcome us. Oh, we have an obligation to welcome you. When you come in your boats with your weapons and your arms and you just say, oh, because we're good, you have to welcome us, and you take all our food, right? What happens next? They go to the trolls' land. They see a sheep. They instantly try to shoot it. It's not their sheep. They have no rights to these sheep, but they instantly try to go in and take these sheep. They're violating these people's trust. They're invading land. They go into the cave, like, oh yeah, we'll just wait here for them. And we'll say law of Zeus, it's all good. Well, you're trespassing in somebody's home that you don't belong in, and guess what? Now your people some of them have to die. And that's your fault, because you're invading. You're violating. You're encroaching on territory. So it keeps hitting these things as in, if you are entering a place unwelcome, you can't just invite yourself in and then tell them what the rules are and expect that to go down, because you'll get penalized for it. Oh, you go into this other land again, and there's a child there, and then you yell at the child. And Odysseus goes, why are you yelling at him? It's a child. And the child runs away. And then what comes is an army. You're invading our land. You have weapons. You have all this. We're bigger than you. We're going to kill you because you have no right to be here. You're infringing. You're yelling at my children. Now you must die. Right? All these things keep happening in the story. And it's hitting one thing. He's like, why does this keep happening? They go to the island of the witch. What do? They go up. They see a house. Do they knock? No. They enter the house. He sees the woman. She screams. He tackles her. Feed us. All right, she has to feed you, and we went into her house with weapons. You threatened her, now she feeds you. And then she shows you your true nature is encroaching. You take what you can get, you eat what you can, and you have no regard for the people that you might be intimidating, that you might be harming while you do it. You have no regard for these things, right? This is the core theme. So Odysseus is the only one who's aware that during the Trojan War, right, he might have been violating. He's like, there's something wrong with what I did here. You know, he's not really grasping it throughout his things, but he's like, I'm not following Agamemnon. There was something wrong with that. Something happened here that I'm not really understanding, right? We won the war, yeah, but there's something weighing on my soul that I haven't really come in. I can't reconcile. And I keep believing in this law of Zeus and giving people opportunity, but I kind of broke my own rule. Something's going on. And they keep hearing about these sea people invading. And then he realizes, oh, all these islands that we've been going to and all the things that we've been doing and all these people that we're interacting with, we are those island people, you know? We're going onto their land, we're saying law of Zeus, we're taking their things, and then we're just leaving as if it's cool, right? We are the people that we fear is going to destroy everything. We are that. And then what's going on at my house is in direct consequence to the actions that I did in the Trojan War, right? So they invaded my kingdom as I invaded theirs, right? Oh, we're here to help your wife. Oh, we're here so she can move on. Oh, we're here to build stability in the kingdom. No, we're here to exploit your kindness, to kick your dog, to try to kill your son, to displace everything in here so we can have it for ourselves. That's why they're there. And it's this understanding that if you invite someone to your home and they lie and they steal and they brutalize and they abuse, then you have the right to remove them from your home. That's what the movie is saying, right? He didn't go, oh, you guys immigrated here and you abused everything in my household and you can stay now. He said, no, you guys immigrated here and you abused everything in my household. Now you have to die. Right? And you even look at the woke elements that are in the stories. Who are the ones that are violating all these agreements? Right? You have the transgender man who's at war. What happens? He dies within the first 3 minutes of the movie. Why? Because regardless of somebody's intended identity, if you're not built for war, you're going to die in the war. That's what it's portraying with putting this trans person. It's saying, okay, Hollywood, this is Trojan Horse. You want me to put a trans person in a war as a warrior Okay, well, here's the reality. They'll die within 3 minutes because they're not built for this environment. No matter how much you try to call them this, they're not built for this environment. Also, who did the trans person in our movie take the place of? A cowardly man who wants to stay back home and live off the authority and resources of a greater man who went to war and sacrificed for his kingdom and promised them everything, right? So the woman who elevates herself to the role of a man is taking the place of a man who was too afraid to stand up. So it's subverting the roles of masculinity with femininity by replacing the cowardly man with the strong woman, right? This is what it's trying to bring forth. It's a reference to Deborah. The fall of Odysseus is a reference to King David, as in when he took Bathsheba and violated his covenant with God. It's the same thing as him putting the Trojan Horse in there and killing everybody and violating his covenant with Zeus, or violating his covenant with all these other things, right? Now his household is in disarray, right? Now all the chaos that he brought forth has to come back to him. And people who aren't becoming wise to those callings are now going to suffer for it, right? There's a lot of spiritual undertones. And when he realizes his house is in disarray because of him, right? He understands that the only way to put it back into order is to accept that he's the one that caused it and exile himself, right? And exile himself, because the only way to correct it is to say, hey, I am the unwelcome guest. I am the one who broke this rule. I am the one who called everyone to behave this way. It's taking accountability and then self-imposing yourself to the fate that you deserve. That's the point of the movie. It is completely anti-immigration when it comes to you going there under false pretenses in order to extract, abuse, and destroy the citizens that are already there. It is completely anti that. So the fact that mostly conservatives are missing this angle on the story, when it's completely in line with everything they believe, right? Even the Odysseus' soldiers who die, a lot of them are minorities. And they go, oh, we're this, we're claiming that. They're the ones who are dying because they cannot understand what Odysseus understands about the wrongness of their actions, right? Black man is in Ithaca kicking Odysseus's dog. And he's the first one to take an arrow to the neck once Odysseus strings his bow, right? So this isn't, oh, because somebody's black in our story, you have to put them in a position where they're the moral, the highest moral regard. That's not the case. A lot of the minorities in the thing are the villains and aren't portrayed as, oh, they're good because they're minorities. And it's not subverted, oh, a woman now has to have authority. No, the man returns home, sets his kingdom straight, his son then takes over power, and him and his wife leave, right? So this is natural order in terms of how it would go down in terms of a kingdom, right? So it's father, son. They didn't subvert it to, oh, father, daughter, father, trans daughter, father, this, that, it's father, son. So every single thing that I think would hit at this is a woke movie, it inverts the wokeness itself and then goes, is this really a woke movie? Right? You got Lupita Nyong'o, the woman who sold 1,000 ships. Then what do? They scar her face and then go, oh, the woman who might sell 500 now. Right? They go, oh. So we're even taking a shot at the beauty of Helen of Troy by scarring her face. Right? So what are we saying about the beauty of Helen of Troy? Right? And then we have Helen of Troy's sister kill Agamemnon. And how does he kill her? How does she kill her? Oh, she yells and then stabs a knife into his neck. Aggressively. Almost portraying Lupita as the angry black woman that's stereotypically presented that the liberals hate. But because she's in the position of power, she's queen and she's Helen of Troy. Now, how do you say something about it? Is she the angry black woman, or is she a woman in a position of power who's getting revenge for the killing of her daughter? Is she the most beautiful woman in the world, or did she get her face scarred and she's not the most beautiful woman in the world? How do you approach this? How do the wokies say, oh, this has diversity, but he's saying you shouldn't come into places you don't belong and then exploit the people that are living there who invited you or didn't invite you, because then you deserve to die? How am I supposed to take that? How do I say? But there's so much diversity in the movie, right? So he's making them battle their own arguments by throwing all the possible woke elements that they believe in also in the movie at the same time. It's freaking genius. It's the greatest inception ever pulled, because you're fighting yourself the whole time. You're fighting, it has the representation, but does it have the messaging that I'm going for? Is it saying messaging that's contradictory to how I want to view the world? But the story, this person, it's a trans woman, but they die in the first 3 minutes and they're deceived. But trans people are already deceived because they believe something they're not. So is it trying to say that because they're trans, they're deceived? No, but they're an army, but they die fast, and it puts you in this dilemma. Like, what's actually being told to me, right? Oh, this guy, he's Middle Eastern, and he says he's Greek, but now he's running up on this woman, and he's beating her, and he's forcing her to feed him. But you know what I'm saying? It makes you double question everything, and I think that's the genius of this movie is, even when it gives you what you want, it makes you second guess, is this truly what it's trying to tell me? Is this truly what he's aiming for? Or is there some type of subversive idea that even when I think it's woke, it's not woke? Or it's subverting the woke by giving you exactly what you think the woke is. And it's pinnacle genius, right? So the movie itself, I would give an 8. Because there's just certain elements that I think could have been better, right? And I don't really think Zendaya can act. I think that's part of the woke subversion is, okay, let me just get these A-list actors that everybody loves and just throw them in a movie, right? Now I threw them in a movie. Do you understand the undertext of what I'm trying to say? Like, oh, well, it's still a good movie anyway, but these people can't act. But it's still a good movie, right? So you can just throw anybody in this and have them say words, and still a good movie. But do you get what I'm actually trying to tell you through using these characters? That, oh, the characters don't matter. What story am I trying to tell? Right? So it's like, there's so many layers to it that you look at Inception and you go, oh, a dream within a dream within a dream. This is like a dream within a dream within a dream within a dream within a dream. And that top is still spinning, right? As soon as he wakes up on that beach, and he has to set his house in order, it's like, what is being done right now, right? A man is taking authority back, coming as a servant, and destroying the demons in his household, and setting the kingdom right, and letting his son rule on earth as he goes off, towards the sun, or towards illumination, and brings forth a new age. It's like there's so many elements that you're like, what is this getting at? That I don't think one watch of this movie can possibly get through. But that's my take is the Odyssey is if you're looking only as the narrative, like face value, this movie is what the movie is, not looking deeper to like what's it actually trying to tell you, then you're not gonna get it, right? You're really caught in the weeds. And I think you've been brainwashed to the same level of propaganda that the liberals were brainwashed with when they're talking about cultural appropriation. You're doing the same cultural appropriation things as the liberals do, right? You're saying, oh, it's not Greek, so now I'm going to ignore everything because everybody in this is not Greek. Everybody's not speaking Greek. Everybody doesn't look Greek. They're not saying traditionally Greek things. It's like, okay, so we're just going to be this annoying about it? Or are we going to say, okay, this is Christopher Nolan's interpretation of the Odyssey. What is Christopher Nolan trying to tell me by showing me this movie? What is his intent behind it? And can I possibly get to the bottom of it, or am I going to be lost forever? Right? I think that's what needs to be discussed. That's what I'm getting out of this movie. All right, just let me know what y'all think. That was my interpretation. I thought it was a good movie. I think the meta of the movie is the real movie. I think he's like, I can go big in these areas because I got to use what I can work with. But the actual, message I think he's trying to send is way more impactful than what was on screen. And I think what was on screen was amazing in terms of cinematography and lighting and all those other things. But let me know what you think. All right, Mike Sai out, the Inequality Principle.